Welcome to Music Ed Tech Talk, a show about music, education, and technology. I'm your host, Robby Burns. Is this topical? The audio hijack apps, many of which have received quite a lot of coverage on the blog and the podcast, are like not doing well for me on the current version of Mac OS. And that's
Rude.
sad. Yeah, so audio hijack is usually how I record separate audio. But yeah, I mean, I think you edited me and Will last time just using the Zoom audio, right?
Yes.
This is the show
Yeah.
now. Welcome to the show, Jaye.
Welcome to the show, Jaye.
Do you need me to I can run that through an AI. I just learned about lots of AI software plugins at TMEA this past week. I can run that through an auto-tune or something. Make you sound like, Ariana.
Timberland.
There you go. And then, just make a little jingle out of that moment.
You might not have heard because I just decided to talk over you, but I'm the captain now, everyone. This is a new regime. This is a new podcasting regime.
Yeah, Will was on last time. Here you are. We're kind of forming a new little workflow here, a new little team, a Music Ed Tech Talk team. And Will's going to be joining more regularly as a co-host kind of role, and you're going to be editing. So here you are. Thought it'd be fun to have you both on back to back.
Music Ed Tech Team. This is Jaye reporting in from the New York desk.
That's right.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I just thought that was so cute. Yeah, welcome. Hi. Sorry, I'm co-hosting.
That's what it is.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Jaye. My pronouns are they, them. I work for one of the big music education technology companies. Google me, you know the one. I host and produce 2 podcasts. You can find me on Substack at CU Space Cowboy. And I'm really happy to be here.
Amazing. Ooh, let's come back to Substack in a second. But first,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you to a new Patreon supporter. Molly supports the show, and you too, listener, can support me on Patreon. And those little $3 subs help cover the cost of hosting the show. There's some tools. I use tools. I hear that there's tech is in the title of this show. That's the tech part of the Music Ed Tech Talk. There's the talking well underway. There's the tech, which is, often for me, I like to use some apps. So I lives in. Gosh, so many things are pointing to this topic. I want to just real quick up front here talk about your mention of Substack and also hosting, because I moved my blog to WordPress recently, which I thought I could address on this show real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I just want to thank Molly again and all people who support me, because that kind of
Molly.
that kind of thing is marginally costly. So thanks to those who support. You can support me at patreon.com/musicedtechtalk. And yes, I have a new home for the blog. You were a little sad I didn't just start a Substack.
It's the same website. Yeah. Does anyone need to do anything differently to access your blog?
It depends on how you were accessing it. And so this is my thing. I just really am believing things lately about the social internet. And I think it's important that people own their own space. I think it's important that in a time where maybe the internet and social media is not a place everybody wants to be spending lots of time, that maybe people, own their own platform online and have control over it and resist the algorithmic, resist the idea that maybe everything you post on the internet is mediated by some company who has other incentives. And part of that strength of having stuff on the web is that you can have all the different bits and pieces be kind of separate and then link them all up. And that's a strength of the internet. So I have the podcast itself, the audio files are hosted by a company called Libsyn. My website, robbyburns.com, has for a while now been a Squarespace website. But I was not finding that using Squarespace as a blogging tool was very joyful for me, and I was doing less blogging. So I took just the part that was like robbyburns.com/blog, and I moved it to WordPress, which is going to make it's going to allow me to like post more frequently and have more fun doing so because I can use third-party tools. I federated it. You can follow it on like, for example, eventually you'll be able to follow it if you're like a Threads user, or like if you use Mastodon, you can already follow it. All this nice fun stuff that I'm thinking about that maybe like 5 other people are thinking about. So like if you're one of the 5 people who uses Mastodon or subscribes to my blog in an RSS reader, you will have to change your, which you do. I have a new RSS feed. It's now musicedtechtalk/feed. If you subscribe to the email newsletter, you do not need to change anything. If you follow my posts on social media websites, you do not need to do anything because they just auto post. But like, I'm not spending as much time on those sites. So like, if you comment, like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but just email me if you want to reach out to me. Like,
love that.
Good old fashioned email. Yeah. So anyway, that's the thing. I mean, I can get more into the technical weeds on it. There's a tool, for example, I'm really liking on the Mac called MarsEdit, which is a client for posting to blogs. It links up to WordPress. You can like use it with several other platforms. But Squarespace just like, they're so focused on people doing scheduling and commerce on their websites that they like couldn't care less. Like a blog is like, I think their idea of a blog is like you're like a brand or a business, and then occasionally you'll like post something. Whereas I'm really in the habit of like linking to things. I'm doing more like link blogging where like the actual me idea is like a sentence, but then I'm like linking out to another blog post on the internet that's maybe like about a new app update that I think is cool or something like, lots of variety of things. I'm kind of using it like a slightly beefier like Twitter. Like here's me posting into the void, but like a little bit longer.
I love it.
Wow, the delay is real. We should, we should use a lutefish next time we do this.
What is a lutefish?
Oh my goodness. So you're like, am I skipping several topics? Trade shows? Do you want to do trade show talk? I mean, like I was at 2 conferences over the past 2 weeks, and like Lutefish is a winger product that does like the online jamming thing where there's no latency between people that are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They like had
I have not heard of Lutefish. I feel like I've heard of a bunch of other ones, but.
Yeah. I met some of the people who are like working on it, and it's like a hardware device that you plug your like guitar, for example, straight into, but the other person has to like have one and be within 500 feet. And they did this like demo at the reception last week at TMEA. That was kind of impressive.
Cute. So yeah, talk to me. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks.
Mike Covens, Music Teacher of the Year. Time Music Teacher of the Year. I can never remember the full official title. So you're basically famous. You're a celebrity. How do you feel? How was the ceremony? And then you can tell me all about TMEA, and then you can tell me all about OMEA, and I'll just pay you with questions. That's
a lot of things to tell you about. So for people who have not been to either conference, they're both great. They're both really great. OMEA was, I guess, first. So I did 4 presentations there that if you follow the blog, you can see all my presentation notes if you want to.
That's a jam-packed weekend.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot for 2 weeks back to back. The funny thing is we've had a lot of snow here, so I've only really missed 2 days of school.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of nuts. So OMEA is just like everyone is just very engaged there. Like people want to like learn, and they're excited to be there, and people have lots of questions about things after presentations. I just really like that conference. I also have a good friend who lives there, so we like hung out a bunch, and I stayed over there and with him, and we ate great food and had great conversation, and just had a great made a thing of it. So that was awesome. Driving home in snow, sleet, and rain was not awesome. In Texas was great. Yeah, there's like the Time reception, which is like for those who have never been to the Texas Music Educators Conference. It's if you ever go, there's a Wednesday where you can like sign up for a pre-conference and get lots of extra technology support sessions. And then there's like a free party hang where you get, a bunch of free stuff, and there's lots of people there having it. It's like a DJ'd event. It was very fun. There was like this year, for example, like not that this always happens, but everybody who like went to sessions at this thing got like free USB microphone. Like
Nice.
if I were a teacher who didn't have a USB microphone and I was trying to level up my setup, like for my computer, like that would be really kind of a good deal. So, and then I tried to keep it real short and sweet with the talking. So I was like, pretty brief.
I love it.
But I do have the thing.
I do want to see the thing.
I did. Here it is. Woo.
I love it. It's a clock because it's time. So Time is Technology in Music Education. It's a professional development organization that offers courses online, I believe, still. But most importantly, in my opinion, is the community building that they do before different music ed conferences around the country. So before the New York State Conference, NISMA, they do one. Before Texas, the Time Pre-Conference is the social and PD event of the season. Like Robby was just saying about OMEA, I have found that the Time Pre-Conference sessions at TMEA, which is the Texas Music Educators Association Conference, are the most engaged, the most enthusiastic. It is all technology focused, which is awesome. So some of my favorite presentations that I've done have been there. I basically got called in to do a session for Music First last minute, like a handful of years ago. And I just basically like whipped together a presentation on my grad school thesis. And I just got to like lecture and ask questions and engage with the audience. And it's a place where you get a unique session experience because people are willing to chat and share and engage with what you're presenting. And because of that, the teachers who present at the Time Pre-Conferences like really step up their game. And I really love it and wish I had been there. One, to celebrate you, but also because it's the best. It's the best conference day.
Yeah, it was definitely a bummer to not see you there, which is why I had to FaceTime you while there to feel like you were there.
I know. I was trying to get FaceTimed in during your presentation ceremony, but our mutual friend decided he was too busy to FaceTime me. Ouch. I know. But I did get some pictures right away as it was happening. Nice. So that was exciting. Amazing. Anything? So do you go to OMEA every year? Are you going to try and go every year?
I go every 3 years when it's in Cleveland.
I love that for you. OMEA is also a good one. That's great. That's very exciting. My recent work travel brought me to Europe. Actually, I was presenting at the European Music Educators Association conference about a month ago, which is the education division of the Department of Defense. It's teachers who work with students whose parents and families are stationed overseas. And I got to spend 2 days in Germany for work, and I added on a trip for 3 extra days. So I stayed in Munich. So I stayed in Germany 1 extra day in Munich, and then I went to Vienna in Austria and Prague in Czechia. And it was great because the US dollar is pretty strong right now, and I bought a lot of stationery on the cheap and brought it all home.
What are like some top stationery bits? Are they even available to like buy outside of the areas that you bought them?
The brand that I'm now obsessed with is Leuchtturm 1917, and it's like the European moleskin equivalent. So it's like they have the hardbacks and the softbacks. They have the different colors. They have the different linings. It's got the pocket in the back, but you can buy it in America. It's just you have less selection. So it was like every store I walked into had kiosks and shelves of every single size in every single color in hardback and softback. So I got 3 sizes. And then same with the Stabilo pens. They're like ink pens. They're colored pens like markers, but they don't bleed like markers. I used to do all my journaling in like fine point Sharpies, which ruined a lot of notebooks. And clothes when caps came off in my pocket or whatever. So I use the Stabilo pens, and in America, they're like $3 or $4 a piece. And in Prague, I got 3 for $6 American. 4 for $6 American. So I resisted bringing back more than that. Try not to be wasteful. But you can also get colors you can't get here. And you can get singles. So it's like you can get a pack on Amazon, but it's their generic like 12 pack or 24 pack. And that includes a lot of colors. Like I'm not interested in like yellow. I'm not using these stationary equipment for art. I'm using it for journaling and note-taking and blogging and whatever. So to be able to pick out like a dark purple and a blue shade and like a thick maroon marker.
Wait, now does Substack allow you to blog by pen?
No, but I usually will hash out drafts on paper. I do almost everything on paper first before I digitize, because more and more studies are showing, one, that it actually helps your memory, like the kinesthetic act of taking notes helps remember it, like getting it into your body. It's like doing any kind of exercise. Like you have to memorize the motions in order to follow through with something. So I take hand notes, I write out ideas, and I don't ever travel with a computer. I don't like walk around town with a computer, but I can walk around town with a notebook and a couple pens in different color shades. I'm also a visual learner and visual processor. So like reading my own notes again is like helping me memorize things in triplicate. So between like seeing it, writing it, and then seeing my handwritten notes, I'm basically a genius.
So you don't actually like transcribe that into the computer when you blog. You just like use the process of taking notes to better inform. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. And then because I also like, I'm a big mind mapper. And so if I have like, I have a tall notebook. I don't know what officially the size is. I should know these things. But I have a tall notebook moleskin for podcasting that I have open in front of me. Doesn't have the size right on it. And so it's like I'll draw lines and connect to things. If I have like 4 bullet points that I want to make sure we cover, I'll draw lines down. And when I'm doing things digitally, I find that I get compulsively obsessed with formatting. It's really hard for me to like get it down on paper and then reformat it later. But if I have a bunch of ideas that I just need to document and then connect in some way, hence all the colored pens and pencils and markers, I prefer to do it on paper. And then I can like kind of reformat and reorder things, because if I do it digitally, I really do find where I'm like, well, I put this paragraph first, so it's got to go here. And it's hard for me to like readjust. But yes, go to Europe, buy things on the cheap, bring them back. I also just bought a new set of colored pencils I didn't really need, because I'm taking a course on Ulysses and wanted to do all my annotations in color instead of with just pencils. So I bought the Stabilio color pencil set, so it matches all the pens I have.
Amazing. I have a very opposite of that thing I would like to share, which is a very expensive thing.
Yeah, please.
So
I started following this brand on Instagram after you mentioned them.
Do you probably get lots of ads for pens now, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll just throw out maybe like 2 things here that are stationary. So, and yeah, I just want to say, like, a friend of mine was over recently, and she recently purchased a Pilot Vantage Point pen, which is like a retractable fountain pen. And I just like, I want one. I cannot bring myself to buy an almost $200 pen. It's a real sweet pen. And we were just kind of talking about our stationery, going at that. But then I thought, so I actually carried around a notebook myself that I'll throw out there too when I was like walking around conferences and stuff, just because it's kind of nice to like write down names of people I was talking to in meeting. And it's Field Notes is the brand. And I like them. You can buy like a 5-pack of these little, they're just like super pocketable, and they're like sturdy enough, but they're like pocket size, and they don't have like a thick, like they have a very like form-fitting, bendy feeling, but still sturdy. My only like minor thing is if you do use fountain pens, which I suspect most people do not carry a fountain pen around in their pocket, but if you do, the paper is like not quite thick enough. Like there's a little bit of bleed, but yeah, they're good. They're real good. This interaction with this friend and what resulted in her sending me some photos of her desk, which has made me feel like it's like sort of led to a potential like what would you call it? Not topic, but like a series I'm going to be doing on the blog, where I'm going to be featuring workflows of other people in the field by posting pictures of their desks and also home screens. And so I'm probably the first what's on my desk feature is probably going to be hers. And I feel this is going to also, the main topic we're going to get to is we're going to be roasting each other's home screens in a few minutes. And that's going to be something that is also coming on the blog, is featuring the way that other people work.
I love that. And I think that like, I think this is helpful because one, it's like, it's silly and it's fun to share like the little trinkets and stuff you have on your desk. But also I do think that thinking about, it's hard for me at least to think about productivity or changing a workflow unless I have a specific example. So I use the ClickUp website as a to-do list checklist. Like we have systems that we use for work where I keep like work specific to-do lists. You know, this person needs a call, this needs a follow-up, check in with whoever. But I also have my like project checklist and like long-term digital note-taking. And so finding different ways to do things is hard for me to do amorphously. It's the same thing as I was just talking about, like taking notes for a blog on paper first is essential because I get locked into my thinking. And so to see what other people are doing and like weird techniques people have, I think it's cute because I like to know that about people, but also I think it definitely unlocks something in listeners.
I love that both like also like how people organize their computers and how they organize their desks can both be like looked at as sort of like an aesthetic thing or a utilitarian thing. Yeah. And like for me, when I saw my colleague's desk in this picture that she sent me, I was just like, oh, your desk is attractive. Like, and I feel like one is sometimes maybe indicative of the other. Like, for example, I know that like her desk looks the way it does because she has thought about what she keeps close. And so I'm like, that's useful and instructive. Yeah. And certainly you can just, of course, like organize like a big alphabetical list of apps or something on your home screen. And then that can just be your way of finding them quickly. Maybe there's not a look to it necessarily, but there's just so many different ways you can go at it. Sometimes seeing something that looks beautiful because someone has intentionally made it so can inspire another person to think the same.
Yeah. So this is a good segue. My laptop, both my work and my personal laptop desktops are full screen background that I've selected. On my work computer, it's got to be work appropriate for presentations and stuff. So I have a nighttime vision of the Bluey house. So it's like the house on the hill and all the things. I have clock widgets on the left-hand side for the time zones of the United States and then 4 time zones for our partners. So London, Estonia, Sweden, Sydney, Australia, and then the U.S. time zones. Just for quick looks. And then I keep as little as possible on my desktop and everything is in folders. So if I do have to keep multiple items on my desktop at a time, and I make sure my desktop is specifically like in progress actionable items. So on my personal computer, it's like folders with podcasts I need to edit, folders of resources. On my personal computer, my background is a shot from BoJack Horseman where he's coming back from New Mexico on his boat that he bought in New Mexico. And he's going back to LA after just like a series of problems have occurred that he has caused himself. And so he has his sunglasses on, he's laying back, and it's a silhouette of him on the boat. And it shows like days passing as he's traveling. So this is like a sunset shot, silhouette, BoJack on the boat. And I bought for like $2.99 6 years ago an app called like Colorful Folders. And so I color match my folders to the background of the sunset based on where they're positioned. So I like my desktop to be as clean as possible and as uncluttered as possible.
But you do use some widgets on the desktop.
I do use it on my work computer, yes. On my personal computer, no.
Yeah, because I love those widgets. I mean, the desktop is kind of the home screen of the Mac. So, I mean, I might as well just say awesome that you shared that. I've got some widgets on mine. They don't show when I present. They don't show up. The widgets hide. So, like, I just have the generic Apple. Cool. I change it up every now and then, but it's like they have this new thing where the background moves when you log in. It's like in motion, like a screensaver. Mm-hmm. And then when you log in, it just sort of like settles. It like slows down to a halt and becomes your backdrop, which is very pretty in my opinion. Whoa. But yeah, I've got like my task app, which we'll talk about in a second. I have a widget of upcoming tasks. I've got a widget of upcoming calendar events, recently opened notes, water intake, and then a couple of things that you can like mirror a widget to a phone app. So like I've got my phone, got like a widget for where my keys are, one for where my wife is, one for like tuning drones, quickly accessible. And those are all like, and a couple more are like on the, just permanently visible on the desktop. So
do you have an AirTag on Mary?
No, you can like follow a person in the Find My app. People have very mixed feelings about this. Like this could be very controversial for me to talk about this. Like,
I'm like you. I'm just picturing you and Mary, like you have your wedding rings, but then also you both have tag rings with your wedding bands. Like that's
so
what
like
I'm
you
imagining.
can give somebody like I love the feature where you can like just give someone temporary access. So like I was trying to find someone at the conference last week, and they sent me a text that was like, "Here I am, right this second," and I was like,
"I'm outside room 13," and you're like. Relative to what?
Exactly.
In what building? On what floor?
Yeah. And there's limitations with like convention centers because I was like, what floor are you on? Like I was going in the correct direction, but it was actually like 2 floors wrong. Yeah. And also I didn't know what floor I'm on because this is not my strength. I'm like, I see grass when I level with me when I look out the window. Am I not on the first floor? And they're like, no, you're on the second floor. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, you can like permanently give somebody else access to your map location, which is like, do that as you want.
So
like that's up to a person whether they do it. Like my wife and I think it's useful. You can like notify, like if my wife is like, you know, out somewhere and like needs me to like to prep something by the time she comes home, like it's nice to have my phone go like, hey, your wife just left her current location. Like we use that all the time. It's nice. Yeah, it's really useful.
Can I also just say quickly, my wife?
Yes. It's like she's called. People give me also like a hard time that her nickname in my contact is wife, and when people are like looking over my shoulder at my phone,
I think that's cute,
and they're just like, "She's just wife in your contact." And I'm like, "Yeah," because I have to ask the computer. I'm not like my computer is very close to me, so I'm not going to be like. Hey, lady in a can you text Mary Elise Burns? I'm on my way. No, I'm going to be like, can you text my wife? I'm like, come on. So I think, though, you can like there's actually a separate field other than nickname where you can like specify a relationship to a person. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think that's true. You can also put pronouns in people's contacts now, which I think is cute.
You totally can do that. Yeah, there's like so much stuff that you should totally go in and do. And it's really actually, so bringing this back to trade shows, conferences, all of that metadata is so helpful when you're like meeting new people and like trying to just get like essential stuff that you can like. So at TMEA, this is the first year where like everybody, or at least a really big, strong mass of people that I have met have turned on their phone, the iPhone feature where if you just stick the 2 phones together, it like bumps your first name, last name, and phone number to them or whatever. You can tell it's great. So like I have my contact. You can tell it. Because my contact for myself has like, it's just like loaded with stuff. It's like work phone, work email, home phone. Mm-hmm. But I just have it so that it like, when I bump someone's phone, it's picture, first name, last name, cell phone. Like you can text me. If I'm bumping your phone, it's fine. iMessage me, whatever. But then I have designated a picture of myself. Cool. And I want to get off the rails here and just say that like, please, if you believe what you want to believe, use a computer how you want to. But for me, please, if you are out there and you do not have a picture of yourself in your contact, you're just like a memoji or you're just a first initial and a last initial, please change that immediately. Like you can make a like very rich contact poster for yourself. Like when I bump my phone to someone, it's not just a little circle with my face. It's like a full screen. It's like a professional photograph that was taken of me several years back.
Oh, like the poster?
Yeah, it's like a contact poster. Like people think a lot about their online dating profile. Why not like your contact that you share, like that you interact with people every day? Like that's kind of where I'm at. This also feeds into my belief, which I know you disagree with, that your profile picture should be a like clear front like profile of your actual face that looks recognizable as you. I changed yours because I love your affinity for Bluey. I'm sorry. Oh, you're upset.
No. I mean, yes, because we're friends and you know what I look like, dog. But I always forget. So my profile picture, I have all this information, blah, 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 as Robby's outlined. But my iCloud, which I forget that like my iCloud account is associated with all of this. You know, I'm like, oh, it's like my Twitter account. I have a profile picture, my Facebook profile picture, whatever. So my iCloud profile picture is a meme of Muffin from Bluey. But it's Muffin in place of Elmo and the Elmo fire meme. So it's Muffin like with her hands out and she's got a wild face and like the flames behind her. And so I'll be working with clients and we'll exchange phone numbers. And like without a doubt, especially the with children administrators I work with, they're like, is that? I'm like, it is. Whatever you think it is true. And then I forget, and then someone mentions it, and I'm like, "Yes, that's Muffin."
I want to. No,
I love her.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to have personality. I allow personality. I just think people should like have at least the feature where you can bump the thing turned on. And I will also say too, this is a funny thing, and I think there's room for somebody to make a good app that can manage the problem I'm about to explain. But there's this like first name, last name photo is really helpful. But there's also some context that I think at a show like TMEA. Because I met several people where I was like, I wanted to like add my own context. And so I'm doing it in an Apple Note, which doesn't feel like the best place because it's just like I have a giant TMEA note, which is like anything TMEA related. I'm just dumping in there.
Yeah. Brad, corporate guy.
But here's the funny thing is like when I'm on an overwhelming, overstimulating trade show floor, and I'm trying to like smash the keys of my phone really quick after just having met someone, knowing that something else will take my attention any second later. The kind of thing like nobody should ever have to see inside of my Apple Note for like TMEA. That just happened because like it's unhinged what I write about people. It's not like I would have to, it's not like terrible if I can defend myself, but like I would have to explain to someone why the sentence or two I wrote about them was the way that my brain thought it was going to most immediately and quickly take down and then later remember who they were.
Blue jeans, bad haircut, Brad, corporate guy.
I mean, it is kind of like that. Someone on Twitter once did a really funny thing. There's this guy who like makes mock-ups. He's a designer and he makes mock-ups of features for mobile phones that would be unhinged if they existed, but then he like mocks them up so that they look so legitimately like Apple or Google like really made this feature. And so he did one once that's like feature where feature that shows you how other people have you saved in their phone. So that like so that when you're looking when you're looking at their contact, it shows you basically that your relationship to them is like annoying girl from the line at Starbucks or something like.
Correct. Yeah. I dated a girl who had Emily therapist, Emily roommate, Emily second date, Emily first date. And I was like, you have got to figure that out. You have got to start using last names, my friend. You're about to get yourself in a deep and I don't deep shoot.
Beep it. Do it. Beep. Do whatever you got to do. Here, let me see if I can find. So I actually cleaned up my TMEA note. It's like better, but also like autocorrect is against me still. Like I'm trying to write, like I'm meeting someone who I want to actually have on the show, and they're like telling me like who at their company I should contact and their title because I don't want to, I want to be informed. So I'm trying to type in senior innovation manager into my phone, and it's just like doing crazy stuff, and I'm like, stop. Like, I am actually...
It's like Senor Pepe the Frog, and you're like, no, that's not what I meant.
It's just lots of, like, explaining, like I'll make up some names. Like, first name, last name, guy I spoke to, comma, who said that lady would like to come on show and talk about product. Actually, that's not so bad. But, like, what I really think could, and I blogged about this several weeks ago. There's, like, an app that I'm beta testing right now called People that's kind of designed to, like, log instances of meeting people and then add some context. And then if you add a contact into it, it goes back and forth between your contacts app. It's like a two-way sync. My early attitude about it is that it's, like, much more pokey and cumbersome, like, with how many, like, things you can do in it than I was hoping for. Like, I really just need there to be, okay, I've done the bump, and now in an app I can do my, like, unhinged thing that nobody but me should see. But then actually in the contact is just the contact. But then in this app, I've sort of, like, linked that contact to a little bit of, like, you know, unhinged journaling, so to speak, like just a little bit of a context.
Can't you don't contacts have notes? Or do they not?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Like, I used to do things like write down people's, like, favorite drink or something in the notes field or like where I met them for the first time. You know, that's good. It's just not very... It's pokey, though. You have to, like, go edit editing contacts on iOS is, someone's got to look at that. Like, for all the nice little touches Apple does here and there for making things less taps and clicks to use, like, contacts does not feel good. Also, search does not feel good. If I search on my phone, I'll type in an app name letter by letter correctly, and it'll be, like, the 9th thing down in the list after... like, a couple of Siri shortcuts will be offered to me, and I'm like, no, I don't want to make the heat in this room 97 degrees. I want to find Pam. Like, that's...
Yeah, and I also, like, it'll be the 9th thing, and, like, 6 of the 9 are, like, half-baked Google searches from, like, 2 weeks ago. And I'm just, like, again, not searching for the definition of a word in a book I was looking up. Like, I'm trying to find my fitness app because... so focus settings. Trying to find my fitness app because on Saturdays I take a social media Shabbos, and so I have a custom focus setting and background, and I have all of my apps hidden away, which is nice, except sometimes I need things. And then I have to go searching for them, and then Siri's like, do you mean the definition of whatever? And I'm like, I don't. Thank you, though. Thank you, Siri. So you have been bullying me in my home screen, and I just feel like you're wrong. I don't understand.
I've actually been bullying lots. I've been bullying your contact photo. I've been bullying everything. Can we just real quick, I wanted to frame this because the topic, we were going to, like, use the roast my home screen idea as a way to talk about some apps that are important enough to us that we tap them lots. Like, I think that's the idea, right?
Yes.
Can I send you, do you have an up-to-date version of mine?
Let me get my phone.
I'm going to text you, like, the most, and I thought we could, because you and I both are very smart people, and we use focus modes, which is to say that, like, there can be different locations or times in your life where your phone will literally, like, change what notifications come through, but also what apps appear on your screens. We could go for 7 hours if I tell you what all of my different focus modes look like. So can we start with just page 1 of your most prominent focus mode, unless that's not how you work. Like, if you're, like, always, like, equally in different focus modes, that's you, right? No.
This is okay. So 1, shout out Natalia. 2, I need to get my phone.
Okay,
Hold on. If you go back to the last episode that I was on that has a Bluey reference in the title, I was learning how to utilize focus settings. So I just updated my phone, and Robby was coaching me through it, and I was having such a tough time getting things to work, and now I'm a pro. Now I know exactly how to operate, and also, like, you know, I made like 14 and was like, okay, I don't actually need like 3 nighttime, am I out, am I partying, am I out and not partying, am I sleeping? Like, I don't need 3 versions of that. So I have at work, I have not at work. So anytime outside of 9:30 to 5:30 on work days, I do have a late night, like I need to be notified of the people that I'm with, but I don't want to be seeing anything else. I have social media Shabbos. I have basically a duplicate of Do Not Disturb, which I'm using less because Do Not Disturb is actually making more sense to me. And then I have a sleep. And so for each of those, I have a custom background and what apps are showing and not showing. So on my first homepage of my all the time, most regularly used, I have everything in a configuration to match my background, which is a photo of me smooching my partner in front of the Bean in Chicago. And the reason why my apps are configured the way they are, one, I love romance, Robby. Two, because all of my other focus settings have different images and configurations. So if I only configure my apps based on my one image, then it'll block something important in some of my other images. So I have everything all set up to work for all of my focus settings and all my backgrounds that I have worked very, very hard on. Very hard. So stop bullying me.
Listen, I just want to bully some of your app layout is what it comes down to.
Okay, well, your app layout is boring.
No, you're right. It is. That's what we're here for today. So here, let me explain. So what you did was you're always in a focus mode. So even like your one that's not work focused, you created. So I do the same thing. I'm never in the absence of a focus mode. I have a personal focus mode, which I would say my phone is probably in most of the time.
Yes.
And
yeah, I call it home. I have like an abbreviation of my.
That's good. And that's what you just texted me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've each texted each other kind of like our primary personal home screen. And actually, I'm in mine now too. I do have one for recording stuff down here. But again, like I find that you get the most out of these things if you use them to the point where they stop working for you. And I was just finding that like the main thing that like my focus mode for recording does for me is it opens a bunch of stuff automatically on my Mac, which is useful, like Zoom and stuff. So I do like that. But I was not finding that I need to be in a separate focus mode to run that trigger. So yeah, I'm in personal a lot. I mean, what you're working with here is definitely like you're doing the aesthetic home screen thing, which is the smart thing. Well, first of all, you're doing the very new thing where you do not have to have your apps go from upper left to right and then upper left to right. You can now drag an app icon
I love it.
Anywhere. So you sort of got like...
Well, not anywhere. This is the thing. It's any quote unquote open space. But for example, I have 4 across the bottom. That's like the all day, every day,
that's
everything
the dock.
I use constantly. So that's the dock. Oh yeah, it's got a name. It's a dock. So I can't get one square directly above the dock. I need a square space in between, which I find very irritating. But being able to move up and down, left and right is a true miracle. Thank you, Steve. Or Tim or whoever.
You have like the Substack and the Overcast app kind of like in the bottom left on top of each other, right above the dock. And then there's nothing else anywhere on your screen, obviously, because you want to see your picture. And then there's like a top row that you have here, which has 2 folders of apps. Then to the right, Duolingo. And then to the right of that, what's this Apple here?
Is Chronometer, which is my food calorie weight tracker.
And that's...
I was using Lose It, which I much, much preferred, but Chronometer integrates with my Oura Ring app, so I don't have to double dip my...
All right, let's save the health apps for last, since that's a separate topic, right?
Yeah, so I switched apps to something I like less because it is slightly more convenient. And it's like, meh, but I will further dive in shortly. But so my 2 folders in the top are labeled. You can't really see. Well, because also this is the thing. We're so close to being able to like really go for it with the customizing and the looking. I don't like the font of the app names. I don't like the font of the folder names. I find the folder names distracting. So I have in the top left of my home screen a folder of apps with an infinity sign label, because that's the stuff I'm using multiple times a day, every day. Next to that, I have like a loopy emoji, because these are the second class, used at least once a day, but not all the time, every single day. And then I have Duolingo and Chronometer next to those folders across the top, because 4 solo apps on the left-hand side were kind of annoying. And then if I put those on the right-hand side, they covered up particularly a speech bubble in my Saturday afternoon. It's like a motivational message. And so I have those up there. So we've got 4 across the top, 2 on the bottom, and 4 in my dock. Now, what my partner does, which people could do, go full on aesthetic. So I have a shortcut to WhatsApp with a custom image that is related to the book club I run, because we run the book club through WhatsApp and all of our chatting is through WhatsApp. So I have my book club logo replacing the WhatsApp logo in my dock next to messages and Spotify and my Aura app. So you could do custom logos, custom shortcuts, custom everything. I've seen it.
Yeah, and then of course the famous app that blew up when widgets became a thing is Widgetsmith, which is where you can like customize a widget. And some people like take custom icons and custom widgets, and they make these like themed home screens that like tie in the background. That can be fun. Your phone can be fun, and you're totally right to roast me that my home screen is not fun. Yours is like actually, you're thinking about the same stuff though that I'm thinking about. You're thinking about like how much you use things and how quickly you need to get to them, balanced with some sort of look. The difference is that like when you're on the main page of apps, the photo is like, and this is like a very sane thing to want your phone to do, is show you a photo and not have apps all over it. Like they added this when they added this feature, they're like in the promo demos, like you can have your dog or something. And it's like, now it's like the eye of the puppy is not like covered in an app. You can like drag a little app out of the way. Like this is what people want. This is why like when I see people with Apple Watches around, they have like the photo one turned on that like alternates photos of their kid or something, instead of what I have, which is the one that shows you 9 different complications from different apps with data. And it
so funny. I will say that my all the time every day is my homepage, on my lock screen is a photo from the comic book Preacher of the 2 main characters sharing a romantic smooch with fire in the background. No spoilers for Preacher, but it's a monumental moment, character development and story development. This has been my lock screen photo for like 2 years. I'm obsessed with this image. And when I open up my phone, I am then presented with an image of me smooching in a very similar posture. And so it's like pretty much lined up and perfect. And now I can move my apps around so it's not covering us while we smooch.
You've thought about it more than most. This is why we're doing this.
I know. So, Robby, your home screen is just like your
Hold
apps.
on. I didn't share. So, like, my lock screen is a very recently and very, like, high fidelity, like, nice photograph of me and my family sitting on a rock in front of a lake.
So cute.
And
it's adorable.
Thank you. And actually, I'm going to look at it so that I can explain, because I have a couple things that are on here. I do put widgets on the lock screen, and I think very considerably about how they do not cover up any of our faces or obscure them. So like my lock screen is kind of like that's my photo place. But as soon as I open the phone, it's a computer. That's kind of where I'm at. So I even have
it's a computer. That's interesting.
Once I actually have the color scheme of the photo sort of like becomes the basis of the color scheme of the background for the apps when I open it. So there's this thing you can check that's like, hey, do you want to borrow the colors of your lock screen photo for the background, but just not. You can also, I think, do it like where it blurs it so that you're kind of always thinking like it's themed together.
Yes.
So I have
color matched all of the lettering and numerals on my lock screen to match there's like a blue shade to create shadow. And so I have color matched my text. And it's not quite the same like blue oeuvre as my home screen photo, but it's like close enough.
Yeah. Mine is sort of like, the color matching is good. Now I'm like really kind of widgety. So, but like which apps get to go here is like a constant development. So like dock.
Are you shifting it all the time?
In tiny ways. There are things that have really stuck. For example, so when widgets became a thing on my main home screen, I have always had a small widget for upcoming calendar events and a small widget for upcoming tasks right next to each other at the top. They're like reference based, but I can check off tasks from there. I can launch into a calendar event from there. My calendar app has a little weather thing too, and that has not changed since widgets became a thing. Upper left corner has pretty much been, it used to be whatever Twitter client I was using. Now it is Mastodon. I'm using the Ivory client for Mastodon, so that has occupied its same slot. So top row is sort of, there is sort of a theming. Like top row is like sort of like vaguely social, all the things that I'm trying to replace social media with. So like Mastodon is a much saner community. It's much more focused on my interests. It's definitely much more passive. I'm usually using it as a news source more than anything. Discord to the right of it, sort of different. That is much more community oriented, but it's small online community. So it's like the people who I'm communicating with might be from anywhere all over, but it's like hyper focused on Discord servers that are like by topic. So like my own Discord server is in there, but I'm also part of like, there's like a podcast network that I support that's in there. And that's like a lot of, I go in there and talk to people about a lot of tech stuff that I really like. So that's kind of there. Narwhal is to the right of that. That's my Reddit client of choice on the iPhone. And again, like I just go there to like read news on like topics that I cover. Like I've unsubscribed from most of the default subreddits that you see when you go to the front page of Reddit, and just mostly like really small communities of like very specific interests. So, and that's where I get a lot like video games, for example. I'm like crushing games recently, and like that's where I go to be a part of the communities where I can like go say, hey, like, how do I like beat this boss in Dark Souls 2? And then someone's like, get good. And then that's that, so I kind of go there to read the news and be abused.
That's good. I like that.
Narwhal. And then to the right of that is Reader, which is it's kind of a combination of a blog. I subscribe to blogs and email newsletters in it, but then I can also save them as later. As I've mentioned on the show before, you can highlight stuff, and I think I pay like $5 a month for this, but that app, any of the highlights I do in that app and any of the highlights I do in the Kindle app all sync to Apple Notes. And I blogged about that recently. I will throw a link in the show notes. Okay, the next row is media and home stuff. So I've got the home app, and then I've got the Sonos app to control home speakers. Next to that is the music app, because that's music like Sonos, but it's also like local on the phone music. And then to the right of that is Overcast, which is my podcast player, which you also have on your home screen. And those two are sort of themed.
Overcast, ride or die.
Yeah, for real. It's so good. Those two both play audio out of the phone locally. So I have them next to each other. The next row gets vaguely health specific. I have the Apple Health app. This is where you should really be roasting me right now. Like, you should definitely be asking me why I have the Apple Health app on the page 1 of my home screen. Sorry, I don't mean to tell you how to make fun of me.
No, it's fine. I just think it's bad to look at.
It's not it's just.
But if you're getting everything you need, like, I'm not a bully. I'm not going to make fun of you. But
when we get to the health topic, I'll address that.
Yeah, I've never found use for the Apple Health app.
Well, but you did already mention it though. Your Aura Ring, if you're like using the Aura app and like syncing lots of data from various different sources to it, like to me this is Apple Health. Like every health tracking app I use is either automatically sending data to something in Apple Health, or I'm manually tracking data, and all of it is visible in graphs and charts in that same place. And so like, I like to be able to see like I can go to this like vitals page and see like, oh yeah, my heart rate, my respiratory rate, my hours slept, all of my like sleeping vitals are like in there alongside my heart rate, my workouts, like weight, water intake, caffeine intake, like food, calorie stuff, all of that shows up. Next to that is the Peloton app, because they're health related. And then YouTube, this is where things get a little weird. So YouTube I needed to put it somewhere. So it's related. It's under music in the sense that it will play audio out of my phone, and is a place that I frequently go to consume like media that has sound. Next to that is photos. Photos as always occupied. So this is like some of these like groupings of themes have been pretty similar for a long time. Now this is where things start to change a little bit. I've got maps in the lower left corner, and then I have the car app for my car to the right of that, because they both involve going places. Then I have ChatGPT, which whether or not I want that on page 1, I'm like experimenting with it a lot because I feel like I have a responsibility to do so, and I want to know, is this actually a useful thing? So I'm like using it a bunch. And then next to that is Notes. Now Notes has sometimes occupied a place on my dock, but I find that I don't tap it enough, even though I use it a lot. I don't like, it's not like a first thing. So here's where I get wild is I will periodically go into the settings app on my iPhone and see in the screen time area, like how much time do you spend on your phone? I will look at which apps I spend the most minutes in and which ones that I tap the most upon first unlocking my phone. And I will try to move stuff to page 1 if I am tapping it a lot. First thing. So that's me.
I'm like, I just want to look at a picture of romance.
No,
Well, actually, if you calculate the data, which apps you're clicking on, you go put them on your home screen.
You're representing the people on this topic for sure.
Which is shocking. That's literally never been the case ever about anything. So I'm honored to be one among you people listening.
I am definitely doing the computer thing. Now, the dock is the most used stuff. Now, this is not a place where there's...
Is that
Listen,
contact?
this is not a place where there's lots of shakeup. So it is crazy that 2 of these apps on the dock are recent additions. Do you want to guess which 2 are?
Do you have? I mean, contacts probably.
Yep.
Is that because you've been tapping and bumping?
It's
and
not
sending?
the contacts app. It is a third-party contact app called CardHop, and it uses natural language input. So I can just open it and type in John, and then start typing a number, and then hit enter, and then in one tap, I can bypass all that fiddly Apple Contacts stuff from earlier. It just like parses out the parts of what I typed and puts them in the appropriate fields, and then saves it. It can also search similarly and contact people through similar natural language. And you know what's even more unhinged is I used to have the phone app there in its place, primarily to see missed messages, but also because I used the contacts tab at the phone tab to find people. People think it's crazy to use the phone app on the page 1 in 2025, but it was there. But I put contacts there to serve that similar function.
Bro, I literally don't know where the phone is on my phone. I will go to make a phone call and be like, I would rather open up my messages and scroll until I find, and then like hit the eye icon and
This
dial.
is what I'm. Okay,
Like,
answer this question.
Because it's literally either that or go to the shooty search and search for phone, and then be like, I guess this is how I used my device as a telephone. How I used my computer to contact other people.
Here's what I don't understand about this, though. Okay, if I get a voicemail and it's like a health insurance something or other, like I want. I leave the red badges on only for things that I really, really want to grab my attention. Like, you got to do this. So if you get a voicemail that you have not attended to, is that just lost forever? Like, are you never calling that person back?
No. So I have the apps I use every day on my home screen, as discussed. My second page is categories of apps: work, money, travel, ongoing, which I have represented with an arrow icon. I have for work, I have a computer. For my money apps, I have the money emoji with the green tongue. Planes, trains, and automobiles for my travel. Ongoing is a right-facing forward arrow. Tickets for my online tickets. TV is Crunchyroll, Hulu, YouTube, etc. I have a Google Classroom standalone for my homework assignments right now. But my ongoing forward arrow apps is where it's like I put all my social media. I put like my local grocery store, Seamless. So the phone app lives here. So if I get a voicemail, it is on my second page, red notification. And there are so few notifications that live in that space. I know it's like literally either a Snapchat or a phone. And those are the only notifications I have here because I don't have any notifications show up from my social media. I look at them enough. I see the notifications.
Yeah.
I don't need to be reminded to check Facebook. Like, I just do it. So yeah, it lives there on my second page. And then my third page is my screen brightness shortcuts. And those are the only things that show up in my like sleepy nighttime focus setting. So if I need to go like, it's called it's a color thing where you can turn down the brightness even more than 0. So I go to like -100 And so at night, my phone is like completely dark. And if I'm looking at my phone in the dark, I can have the brightness set to like -75. And then during the day, I'll turn it back up to 0 to 100. It's a disability thing or an accessibility setting. And they don't have it on the computer. And it's so irritating because when I'm looking at my computer at night, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go blind from staring into this light bulb. But yeah, when the lights are off, I'm at -100.
People should totally, who love to poke around in their computers, should go into the accessibility settings of their devices. There's lots of cool stuff in there that your phone can do that like is nuts. So like one thing that Will Kuhn taught me is on the Mac. If you go into, there's like this area in the settings where you can like turn on a thing where wherever the cursor is, if you hold Control and then scroll up on the mouse or the trackpad, it will just zoom in to whatever area your cursor is on the computer as big as you want it to. And so I was watching him teach like a session once on Ableton Live, which has lots of tiny little buttons. And he just kept like a wizard, just like zooming in and out of like parts of the computer interface. And I was like, dude, how did you do that? And he showed me the setting. And it's like so good for teaching to be able to do that, like just to be able to zoom in on a thing.
Yeah.
A+. Okay, so the Messages app is next on my dock. This has never moved. This has been here since I got the first ever phone that I ever had. Yeah. Safari has not always been on the dock, but I use it quite a lot. So whatever web browser I'm currently using goes to the right of that. And then this like rightmost spot this is where the most flux has been over the years. Right now I have the Kindle app there, which is very aspirational of me. Like when I look at the I'm trying so hard to do long form media these days and like avoid the endless scrolling of these social sites. And I was looking at the data and I was like, realistically, if it's about taps, I should really have either the Mastodon client or Overcast there, because those are the things that I tap the most frequently when I open my phone. But I'm trying to like resist that urge. So I put the Kindle app there. I'm reading lots more on the Kindle lately. I even have it, and people might have feelings about this, and that's fine. They should share them with me. But like, I have the thing on in the Kindle app on only the phone version, where your book will be presented to you, not paginated, but like an endless scrolling text. So you're just like, replace your doom scrolling with
reading a giant
no, but it's like they're like whatever Kindle's file format is. So it's like the text is like legible.
Yeah.
You're just like scrolling through.
But it is as if you are scrolling through a giant
basically
PDF.
It's just endless.
That's giving me a visceral like endless, like claustrophobia of endlessness. Like when you're looking at the ocean and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up because the ocean's so big. No?
Maybe. I mean, not me, but but it's, there it is.
I love that for you. You know what? If it works, it works. This is the thing about being such an individualist is like, man, I can't even knock it. It is ugly to look at, and I'm sorry for that. You really should make it pretty.
I think, yeah.
But like, make some cool app shortcuts. Well, so the thing is, did you watch the Super Bowl? This is not about music.
You're not doing Kendrick discourse right now? Okay.
No. The score on the bottom was when it was abbreviated. People were like losing it on Twitter. And by people, I mean one person I follow on Twitter who's a very good friend. I don't know if anyone else didn't like this, but one friend did not. And I was like, I think it's easy to read on a phone. Like, I think it's so you can shrink it and it resizes and it's readable. It's not ornate. It's just like block text visuals. And this is the thing with, like, I see it on graphic design Twitter where people are like, why does every single logo look exactly the same? And it's like, because it has to be understandable and readable on an app on a phone. And so we have all of the same, like, so many apps have the same kind of design, and especially when they're designing for, two marketplaces, which is something we can talk about some other time. But, like, this Ivory app has like a CGI elephant. Like, Sonos is a word. Ford is a word. Like,
you think I should give them some custom? Here's why I won't do it. Is
I do, because it's stressful. It's stressful to look at the inconsistency. For
what bothers me more than what you've just said is the fact that the three icons that are logos on black text are in that like row up to down, like Sonos, Peloton, Ford are like.
Oh, yeah.
But I have my phone set so that at around sunset, it goes into dark mode. And then most of those icons are black.
Yeah.
And then it looks really good, the consistency. I'm going to share with you, and also maybe we can link in the show notes. There was John Gruber, who writes at Daring Fireball, had a breakdown of the score bug from the Super Bowl, like very much in favor of it. And actually there was not a whole lot of like the phone was not even brought up, like just legit, like this is like a good design was kind of what he was going for.
Why was it called
I didn't
a bug?
know that until, actually I feel like I have heard that term, but like when I was seeing people.
I saw a couple people tweeting about the score bug, and I was like, did the score not update and I missed it?
That's like the name of that area on the screen when you.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what did he have to say
in
about it?
lots more words than the average person would want to read, that he liked it. It's basically, but it was a fun read because it was like, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that people get paid to think about and don't. And that's why people have opinions about this, is like there are things that are easier to read at a glance than not. And if you overload the screen with information, which most of these things do, you know, it's just too much. So
it's like, try watching a baseball game where it's like the top 5 players who have walked backwards into third base since 1917. And it has like their names and their pictures like in the top right corner of the screen, like hand sized on your monitor. And you're like, cool. I didn't know it was called score bug. See, we're all learning. We're all learning together. Can we talk about our health apps?
We should,
now?
yeah. So I do use Apple Health. Everything that I can track in there through my watch or my phone or a third-party app, I will. Yeah, I mean, data that I pretty routine, like I can just show you some of the things that like pretty routinely log into that, like hearing, like how loud my headphones are, how loud my environment is, exercise minutes, actively burnt calories, blood oxygen level, minutes spent journaling or meditating, sleep tracking, resting heart rate. So one thing that's like, that I really don't like about these kinds of tools is like, I don't love the like the notification where it's like, how are you feeling right now? Like that really bugs me when it's like, you should,
like, shoot, Apple. Thanks for asking.
like, I mean, I guess thanks that you care, but here's the thing. This is incredibly touchy-feely of me, but like I learned that if you track your mood there's a couple ways you can do it in the health app, but you can also do it in Apple's new journal app. There is a place in the Apple Health app where you can see charts and graphs that log your mood alongside sleep, water, and active minutes spent in sunlight. And I was like,
Now, so my question about some of these stats. So I recently, around Thanksgiving of this past year, bought an Oura ring. I got influenced by a woman I know who bought them for her and her husband because they're both science nerds. So I was like, I want one of these because about a year ago, I was seriously focused on losing weight. Gained a bunch during COVID, wasn't really active, needed some motivation. So I was running again. I was getting more serious about my weightlifting. And I started using the Lose It app to track calories, and it was super easy and super great and super helpful. I got like a deal for the year. Normally the year is like $50. I got it for like $25 as a first time subscriber, and I logged my food every single day for like 6 months. And then when I was marathon training, I didn't worry about it so much. And so once I'm like down to a healthier weight and I'm exercising every day, weightlifting and running, I was like, okay, I want to be tracking all this information, but I don't want to be wearing a watch, especially over like Christmas break. I was like, I don't want to be sitting around with my watch on just to like keep track of my heart rate or like count my steps as I'm walking around the apartment. I don't want to keep my phone in my pocket. So the ring started making more sense. I also like am very like a floppy sleeper. And so I was like having a watch on, like I can feel it while I'm sleeping, and like I'm smacking my partner in the face and like smacking myself in the face a lot of times. So what they do with the Oura ring is you get a kit to try it on. So they give you like the 12 different sizes and their little plastic rings, and you like wear them. So I wear a 9. I wear it on my pointer finger on my left-hand side, and I wear it constantly. I take it off to shower. I wash my hands with it. I'll wipe it down after that, just on my t-shirt, whatever. It was like $300, $350 maybe. And then it's like $60 a year for the subscription to the app. And so the app tracks all the things that you were mentioning, not time and sunlight, I don't think, but resting heart rate, my sleep. They give you a readiness score, which is your sleep and yesterday's activity. So if it's like, oh, you only slept 5 hours and you ran 60 miles yesterday, like your readiness score will be low. And it's like, okay, you balanced rest and activity yesterday and you slept really well. Your readiness score is really high. So I like all this information, particularly the sleep data. It will, since it's keeping my heart rate all the time, it tells you if you have breathing disturbances in your sleep. So that's been cool to keep track of. And it also tracks my calories all the time. And I have it hooked up to
Hold on. What do you? Oh, you mean like burnt calories? Okay.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So it's like, these are your active burn calories. These are your not active calories. You're just like sitting and being a human and burning calories. So then I have it connected to Chronometer, which is where I keep track of my calories, which I do less diligently now that I'm not like actively trying to lose weight in a focused, serious way. But it's like, I would like more. I think it's like I'm still collecting data. Like I've only been using it for November to December to January. Wow, I've only been using it for like 3 months actually. So I think soon I will have long-term data to actually pay attention to, which is good. But then what made me think of all of this based on what you were just saying is like, some of this information is like not something we can do anything about. Where it's like, yeah, I felt crappy today because I couldn't sleep because I have insomnia, even though yesterday I drank enough water and spent enough time in the sun. And so it's like, sometimes it's really nice to know a lot of this stuff, but also like I spent 4 figures on a custom mouth guard to help me not have breathing disturbances in my sleep. So for this app to be like, still happens. I'm just like, oh, okay.
I mean, I know that there's so much data that these things are tracking that like, this is where I feel like, and I haven't used the Rings app, but I will say actually, like if I had discomfort sleeping with the Apple Watch on, I would think about the Ring. I've really closely compared what they track, and they track essentially like the Ring does not track anything that the watch doesn't. So I've just kind of stuck with it. But like these things really have a lot of data. And I think one thing that at least I know Apple Health does not do, which it probably could do a pretty good job of, is like more forecasting. Like it probably can like it doesn't even do a readiness score. So like there's definitely some things you can infer about how I'm going to be feeling tomorrow if you know how much caffeine and how many hours of sleep I had yesterday and like what my workout looked like. Like there's absolutely stuff that's there. Cause right, like I know that like the rings on the Apple Watch, the little 3 rings you're supposed to fill. Like I would never, like I'm always standing as a teacher. That stand ring, I would much rather put like sleep or something like more meaningful to me there. But I think Apple wants it to be something you can do something about. So like I can't fix the sleep. So I think that's why they've kept it maybe stand. Like you can always kind of improve throughout the day. But yeah, there used to be an app that no longer exists it was for the iPhone, and it would like link to Apple Health, and then like you could give it permission, and it would try to like make me, it would be like, hey, you drank caffeine and didn't sleep at all yesterday. Try this tonight, or try sleeping for this. I don't know like how like doctor approved it was the thing, but like that kind of category or idea of thing would be like typically pretty helpful. Now I have some advice for you.
Suspicious.
If you go into that, this is where Apple Health could be good, because you said you didn't like your calorie tracking app, but it links to your Ring. If you go into the Apple Health app, and you tap on your icon in the upper right corner, there's an option called Apps. And if you go to that option, you can see which apps are sending data to Apple Health and which apps are reading data. So what I'm going to guess probably a product that's popular as the Oura Ring can do, I'm guessing that it has read and write access to like almost every category. of the Apple Health
that's
app,
true.
and which you probably can do if it has read access to all of your like nutrition stats, like calories and like fat, sugar, whatever. You should just link it and then lose it. Keep using lose it, because then lose it will send write data to Apple Health, and then Aura will read that data and then connect all the bits. That's why I like the Apple Health app. It's like sort of like the center point of all the tracking. Like I track water in the Waterminder app, which is a very, very good and easy to use.
True.
They've taken all the like people like forget to track the stuff. That's why these apps people fall. This stuff falls flat. But Waterminder like has these interactive widgets that you can place anywhere. Like it's impossible to like I don't miss days logging the water.
Yeah.
And I've actually Lose It was my preferred one for a while. I've settled on Food Noms, which has one of the only good uses of like language AI that I've seen. You can just because I do it all. I have speaking of focus modes, I have a focus mode that automatically triggers when I start a workout on my watch. So like when I hop on my exercise bike, a workout starts on the watch pretty much automatically. It like pops up a notification. It's like, do you want to track this? And I'm like, sure. And then some stuff happens. One of the things that happens is my home screen, page 1 changes, and it has more like health-focused stuff. So I just kind of like do it all while I'm riding the bike for the whole day, so that then I remember to do it more often. But what you can do with Food Noms now is they like have just like continued to make it as like the easiest possible way to track this stuff. And what you can do is in the search bar for food, you can just type in basically the equivalent of my Apple Note for contacts about people, like people I've met. You can just be like, half an avocado, 1.5 pieces of toast, 3 pieces of Lido's pizza, smoothie with whey protein powder, a banana, a handful of blue. You just like type a long string of nonsense foods you ate, and you hit a button. And then it's like, blah, 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 here's all the entries that we found. Can you adjust, make sure the proportions are correct? And I'm like, yes, I think I will. And it's great. It does a really, really good job with that. And they're doing stuff I've wanted, like the Lose It app to do for ages, which like now you can, I think, it can like import data from websites. So if you like make a recipe, because that's the thing, it's like if you like eat at a like McDonald's, like that's going to be in their database. But if I make some blueberry muffins from some obscure like gluten-free health website, like that data is, I have to like create a custom meal and tell it like how much like baking soda I put in there and all this stuff. So like it's using the AI to kind of parse all that out, because I think it's really useful. I don't calorie track everything these days, but I've done enough of it that I have a much better sense of like what food makes me feel good versus terrible, what food, helps me meet my goals, so on.
Yeah. So this is my transition to our music picks / app of the day / technology, which is everyone should be using the Arnold Schwarzenegger Pump Club fitness app. Do it. Just do it. I have codes. I'll send you codes. Sign up for the newsletter. I'm telling you, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's the best. I'm literally so jacked. If you saw me 2 years ago and looked at me now, I swear to God, I look amazing and I feel amazing. And I lost like 25 pounds since my COVID peak because I'm on like a fat burn plan and I'm lifting weights and I'm using machines, and I've completed like 4 or 5 plans, which is like a multi-week pre-planned workouts. It's all written out. I cannot highly recommend this app enough. You can get yearly or monthly subscriptions. And what you're able to do is designate your goals, whether you want to build muscle, get svelte, whether you're beginner, intermediate, advanced weightlifter. And everyone starts in the foundation plan, and it's like a multi-month, multi-week, multi-workout. It tells you everything to do with videos on your movements and how to do it. You log everything, your reps, your weight. And so I've been with the app since its inception in 2023, whatever. Since the app started, I am one of the 5,000 lifetime members. I just went for it. It was like $200. And they were like, you never have to pay again. And I was like, done. I'm in. I'm all in.
Oh, that's good for a lifetime membership.
and I got a free t-shirt. I was like, I'll literally do anything for a free t-shirt. Was it a $250 t-shirt? Yes. Is it a really nice t-shirt? It is. So I, like, truly, all jokes aside, I've been with the app since its beginning. Arnold and his team, it's two guys, Daniel and Adam, and they publish articles about nutrition, about fitness, about focus, about life. The sort of overarching theme is they call it the positive corner of the internet. So it has community and communication, but it's not a social media platform. Users aren't able to post, but you can comment and reply to other people and connect with people. It's so worth using because the plans are great. It's motivational. It's fun. The community is cool. Arnold and his team are super involved in it. And so there's like opportunities to hear from them directly and ask them questions and get feedback.
Wow.
And it all started from Arnold's daily newsletter that they send out, which I highly recommend. I read it every single morning. And it's not even about like turning into a bodybuilder. It's just about like lifting weights, resistance training, and how good it is for you. It prolongs longevity. It's good for your joints. It's good for your muscles. It's good for any other fitness. It's so great. Truly, it changed my life. It got me exercising again. And I am like healthier and happier than literally ever in my entire life. And I like actually genuinely credit this newsletter and this app. So that's my rant.
Hard sell for Arnold. Wow. Okay.
Bro, I'm so in. I'm so
I will say, yeah, if people want to like be doing more fitness, I will say like there's so many of these things out there, and what you're describing sounds like it has so much more like engagement outside of just here's the working out. There's like reading and community and stuff, and that's super important. For me, the subscription to like classes and stuff and the stationary bike is just about like a limit. Like the only thing that's worked for me as long as the Peloton app has is just that all of the classes happen on my floor or on that bike. And I have some like dumbbells and I lift them, and there's like almost no steps between me and working out, which is
I love that.
Helpful. Also, the classes are good. Like they're very good. Like I have taken yoga classes inside of that app where like that person is a pre-recorded thing and I'm watching it on a screen. There's no interaction, but the way that the class is structured and that the moves are described is like better than any in-person class I've ever taken, where people are literally like looking at my form and commenting on me. Like some of the, like these people are like good instructors. They know how to then there's like variety. There's like for me, yoga instructors, for example, who are super precise about like angle and movement and stuff, like that is not it for me. Like, so I need someone who's going to be like, I'm like, I don't know, maybe like I'm like a weird hippie, but I need someone to be like, imagine you're a rock on a lake, and I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden I feel something move in what is the correct way that it's never been unlocked for me before, and I'm like, wow. So yeah, I mean, and then some people just need like the very touchy-feely stuff, like you're great, feel good, and then some people want someone like sarcastic, like even on the bike. There's people who are like they're just the whole driving force behind their class engagement is just their personality. That's it. I like the bike people who are the most rhythm and groove minded. So like there are instructors who when there's peak effort happening in the ride, you're like half on the beat or double time the tempo of the music precisely. Like they are like right now your like cadence is 87, and I'm like 87, and then I like get there and I see it on the screen. I'm like, oh, I'm like the tempo of the dance track that's happening right now. Like that's
cool.
Yeah. So health apps, they're good. Arnold though,
it's the bomb. Okay.
So this section of the show is going through a crisis right now. Like it's sort of becoming more broadly about media picks in general than it is,
which I love.
Yeah.
I think it's great. So my two music-related media picks, I'm listening to Bjork for the first time ever, and I've listened to the album Post like 77 times all the way through in the last like 3 weeks. It's profound. And my other a rec from my partner was jazz. I was like, whoa, I play jazz. You'll have to pardon the pronunciation here, but Ibrahim Malouf. Are you hip to this guy? He's a trumpet player,
okay,
and it's amazing. And the album is diagnostic, and it's like it's groove and it's jazz and it's like subtle and it's tasteful. Like you can put it on in the background. We do often while we're making dinner or like at a party. But you can also like, I listen to it when I'm working out and I'm like, whoa, whoa. So those are my, my 2 music picks, and they're highly recommended for me.
I'll throw out there, I think I mentioned Sam Greenfield as a music pick last episode, but we saw him live. It was so great. It was just so fun. Like, it's just a bunch of like trained jazz musicians, but who like grew up playing Mario Kart, obviously. And they're like, well, that's going to be our sound. I don't know. It's like, some people call this viral jazz. Like, he's very online. So like, he'll make really fun TikTok videos of like them playing one of his songs in a bodega. And there's just like people buying chips and like maneuvering around the band, who's all, you know, just like very fun, very accessible, very danceable. So like you can have a good time, but also like the playing was so solid. Like the electric guitarist was just like an effortless guy and a super great musician. We really enjoyed it. I will give one more music thing. Dolphin Hyperspace has come up on my feed, and anytime I can like a prog jazz group that also my son likes, I'll recommend it on this show, because this is like very kid-friendly music, but I guess they're like, you could call it prog jazz. They came up on my TikTok. I get stuff there every now and then. It's just like it's like most of the music on I've been listening to. Let's hold on, which album have I been listening to? It's a lot of it sounds. It's like there's clearly a bass player and a saxophonist in the band. It's unclear how much of the drums are a drum machine versus how much of them are. I think they like maybe get someone live, but it's a lot of the stuff on the record sounds like a drum machine. What is my porpoise? How do you say the animal?
So funny.
Porpoise. That's how you say it. What is my porpoise? And then it's got, this is the icon, or the album art.
Oh yeah. You sent this to me and I was like, I don't know what this is. Yeah. I like it a lot. It's, so imagine it's like a poorly produced stuffy of a dolphin, and it has big eyes and like no real actual dolphin-ness to it. Is kind of what you're looking at.
Can you see how though, like Theo saw this on the car like thumbnail? He saw the thumbnail from the backseat and was like, "What's that?" And then it's like the music is just like, it has this like underproduced kind of edge that I know is like hot right now amongst some of the prog jazz people. So it sounds like something that maybe like he would make, even if like he was introduced to GarageBand for the first, you know what I mean? Like it just has this like,
Your son has impeccable taste.
It's just, and it's groove music. Lewis Cole, some people like him. He's that like, he's in the group Nowhere. He's on drums on a couple of the tracks, just to kind of, if you're wondering like, what is it, you know, what other musicians are they orbiting around, or do they sound like? It's Lewis Cole. It's music where Lewis Cole sounds correct as the drummer on. Do I have to do an app? I did. Crunchyroll anime. We've been watching some of that.
Amazing.
It's hard though. Like the language aspect of it, like with the dubbing, is it's a hard problem to solve, and the fact that they've even kind of solved it is, I'm impressed.
Subs, not dubs, bro.
Hey, that's what somebody on the Narwhal Reddit client would say to me.
Sounds like a skills issue.
It's part of the kids' language though, so it's actually very funny to use some of this language in class and like get reactions from kids. Like,
I think about that all the time. You said that once, and I like think it all the
you know,
time.
when they're looking at their saxophone in a puzzled sort of way and being like, I don't think it's playing right. Funny. Sounds like a skill issue, and then they laugh. It's like Yeah. Well, I also talk about getting good in the band room quite a lot. Like that's a thing that we do. It's like we're gonna get good. We're getting good. Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I love it. Okay. So we have so many other things we need to talk about, but we do have to stop talking because one, it's been an hour and a half, and two, I have to go to the gym to use my Arnold app. So here's a teaser, and well, first of all, this is a new editing regime. Okay. We're listening to the theme song. So hit that like and subscribe button. The theme music is playing right now because I'm going to put it in right now. And it's playing and you're dancing and you're loving it. And it's going to fade while we're talking, and then it's going to get louder, and you're going to listen to it for a few minutes at the end of the episode. Okay? So that's number one. Number 2, I'm taking this course in Ulysses, the book, and it's all being run through Google Classroom, including these written out lectures that are also recorded, which is awesome, so you can read them or you can watch them. But the issue that I'm having that I would like to discuss with you, Robby, is how Google Classroom can be used to put out content in different ways. For example, I was watching one of the mini lectures while I was walking yesterday, and I couldn't close. It was like YouTube. I couldn't but I couldn't lock my phone. It had the audio dialogue box in the front with the play button and the scrubber, but it didn't actually play. And so I had to keep my phone open in my pocket and just hope I wasn't accidentally fast forwarding through things. So I would like to talk about that, specifically also about Substack and how it works as a blog and a platform and that sort of thing. So that's a teaser for whatever episode we do next. Or we can just have a phone call and talk as people. We can do that too.
That sounds good. Yeah,
but we can also record it for people to listen
absolutely. To. Nothing that we just have done is talking as people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Beep, boop, boop. I am a podcaster.
This has actually just been Notebook LM, this whole episode.
Notebook LM does not have the range. I'm too powerful to be large language modeled. Large language Mateyko. Okay, sorry. We can be done now.
Thanks for listening to Music Ed Tech Talk. I hope you subscribe to the show and review it in your favorite podcast app. You can find me at robbyburns.com. The show is edited by Jaye Mateyko. Design work is by Ryan Bailey. Everything else is by me. See you next time.